Hello, welcome to one of my favorite things that I love to do, client spotlight interviews. Today's always an extra special day, especially when Nikki here is in the room. Nikki, I'm so excited to be talking to you today. You see, guys, Nikki just recently graduated from becoming mastermind. So we're going to be diving in, talking about her experience inside of the 6-month mastermind. But first, let me have her introduce herself. Nikki, take it away. Who are you?
Hey guys, my name is Nikki. I am a expansion coach and I guide people towards deeper levels of inner power and inner peace, utilizing subconscious rewiring and elevated states of consciousness. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we were just talking before we hit record and we're like, I miss you. I'm like, I miss you too. Just how deep we go inside of this mastermind. But yeah, Nikki, I want to ask you some questions. So anyone who's listening, anyone who's watching can get a really deep understanding of what this mastermind is actually about, what it's like to be inside of this vortex. So first question to you. I would love if you could just share, where were you at in your business before you ended up joining Becoming?
Yeah, for sure. So before I had clients coming in, but it was a fight to get there. It felt like I was always pulling as opposed to attracting. And it felt like I was in the mindset of trying to hustle my way towards the success that I wanted. And obviously, being in this space, energetics, it's everything, right? And I didn't really know how to actually turn inwards and snap into my magnetism. So yeah, I was getting the clients, but it was at a point where I was reaching this point of burnout because the way that I was going about it was just not sustainable. And it wasn't the way that I wanted to continue my business. And I felt like there were levels and leaps that I had to make that I got to make in the coming year, that I knew I needed guidance and help to overcome a lot of the blocks that I felt were keeping me in the same reoccurring loops and in the patterns that were not sustainable and helping me on my journey. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Nikki. I remember us dropping in and having a conversation before you ended up joining. And it's so, of course, that so many of the spiritual entrepreneurs who end up joining Becoming are going through the same thing, right? Like maybe you guys are listening and you feel connection to this, where it's like you're doing the things, you're moving through the motions, like the business is working, but something's off, right? So what actually led you to finally take the leap, join Becoming, and do the thing?
Yeah. So even just to reiterate what I was saying before, I feel like another point that came to my head as you were talking is that it's almost like if you feel like you're chasing after the results you want, you're not in the right energy to actually have a sustainable business where you're bringing in those cash months on a sustainable cadence, right? So if that's the way you visualize it, like you're out there chasing and you're pulling, there's a way that you get to turn inwards and actually have people come to you and utilize your magnetism to really attract clients and attract business. So that was like the biggest like desire that I wanted, was to like really up level in my business. And yeah, what was the question that you just asked?
What
I was,
ended up
I was like, I need to get more detail on this.
how glad you added it. What ended up having you take the leap and join
Oh,
Becoming?
yes. So you did a little like 1 week activation. What was it called again? Activate? Was it called Activate? Yeah. Which I had always, you were in my world for a while. I think it was like about a year. And I wasn't ready for the work that we were going to do together. Like when you were in my world, I found you on TikTok, I was following you, and I always resonated with you, but not to a level where I could truly benefit from the work that you do, because I just wasn't at that stage in my journey yet. I wasn't at that level of like awareness. And when you posted that you were going to be doing this 1 week, I think that was 3 parts, right? Little activation, I was so freaking excited because it was a way for me to really feel into your energy and see if this was in alignment for me. And it was within the first like 10 minutes of your first call that you had that I was like, this is it. Like my soul knew. And I think a lot of people will hear that calling of like, oh, I really want to work with this person. But then all of a sudden the ego comes in and is like, no, you don't have the money, or you can't make this happen right now, or you're not ready. And those thoughts definitely came in because I was in no financial state to invest that amount of money, but because of how aligned it felt, like I made that shit happen. Like I asked my husband if he could help me at that time. And if you're listening to this and you feel like you have money blocks, so it's something that your heart is calling you towards, like know that overcoming that resistance and that fear is where you're going to see the leaps in your business and in your life. So I just had this knowing as soon as I was on that call with you, I was like, this is my next chapter and this is where I'm meant to go. And I leaned into that.
I have goosebumps as you're saying this because it really does take a certain kind of person like you to have that tenacity, that drive, that understanding, the commitment, the devotion, the full-on trust. But you are such a leading example of like you move first, the universe responds. Like you did whatever it took to make it happen. And then of course you got like flung into the vortex and so many things unfolded for you. So yeah, tell people like what was it actually like being inside, becoming like what happened, what unfolded for you? Because yes, even though we attract very similar spiritual entrepreneurs, everyone still has their own unique journey. So tell us about yours.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, in the beginning, I was like, I'm going to go into this like container. I'm going to do all the things, like be in my masculine. I wanted more structure. Like that was what I was envisioning. And with a combination of like that magnetism, I really wanted to work on like the structure and just like being able to attract clients. And then I get into the container, and of course I enter into this like dark night of the soul. And it's just funny that the pathway of you thinking you're going to take in order to get somewhere is usually not the way that it unravels, but you end up at that goal of what you wanted. So the objective that I wanted to achieve with my business was achieved, but the path to get there was so much deeper than what I thought it was going to be. And yeah, I had a lot of shadows come up in this container, a lot of fear, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of tears, and it was dark and heavy for me, but it was exactly what I was meant to navigate while being held by you. And it's just so special because I truly believe that we go through those chapters so that we can learn the very things that are going to help us in the expansion part of that next journey, where you're getting the money, you're getting the clients. Like you first kind of have to navigate through the shit, through the dirt. And I truly don't know if I would have been able to make it through the other side and still be so strong in my business and in my knowing of what I'm going to do with my career without being in that container and being held and crying and having you do like the most powerful energy clearings on me, where I'm like releasing everything so that I can move into that position of power and back into my highest. So my journey through this container was me really holding myself through darkness and having you hold me as well. And it allowed me to find a deep inner strength and power that truly like it has activated something within me that is so profound and so deep that I will thank you forever.
Make it like as you talk, I'm like trying to contain myself because like my picking up like full body chills just to hear you and to also have been like honored to witness you through this. I'm like, it was such a great pleasure to hold you in this space. And I think your unique journey of becoming is such a powerful reminder to everyone who's watching, everyone who's listening. It's not always like rainbows and sunshines, right? Like it's you had to go through it because these are all the parts of you that are not actually you that you needed to visit, that you had to have the courage to open that Pandora's box. And by you
Right.
choosing, yeah, like for you choosing to do it in this space, it's like you didn't have to do it alone. And so I'm like, thank you, universe, for like bringing us together in divine timing, because I just don't see a reality where you wouldn't continue on this path and continue doing what you're doing, just impacting all the people that you're impacting every single day.
Right. And there is something really powerful to say about having guides and coaches for those specific chapters of your life, because I find that when I don't have like someone there to mirror and to kind of walk me through the fire, I spend a lot longer in that ickiness, and I make it mean something about me, which is something I'm working on. Like when I'm in the shadows, you really taught me that it's this constant oscillation. Like this is a lesson that you taught me that has changed my life forever, where when we're in those shadow parts of us, they're really there to serve us. And yeah, I was brought into this container where I wanted to achieve all these amazing things, which it ended up unraveling that way. But first I had to face the darkness to find the light, and to have someone as a guide while you're doing that, it's freaking powerful.
So much love to you and getting to be a part of this, really. And now, as you said, right, the shadow carrying you into the light, because I know there were so many things that did transform for you. So do not hold back. I want you to brag. Like, what were some of your biggest wins that you're celebrating from becoming?
Okay, so the first really big shift that I had was being in a container. And when I first came in, it was like, how many girls? 9 girls. And obviously you as well. And I think the biggest shift that I experienced was an expansion of my beliefs of what is possible. Like hearing all the other girls share their wins, their challenges, what they're going through. Not only was it me learning through you, but it was learning through community and feeling the energy of people that are out there doing the damn thing expanded my mind and showed me what is possible for myself. And just being held in a container where you're being expanded and pushed to be like the best version of yourself in your business is so powerful. So I went from feeling very kind of like almost tiptoeing around my desires and not really knowing how to truly pour my heart and soul into them. I wanted to start a podcast. I wanted to do like an event. I wanted to like up my coaching prices. And I felt so nervous and timid to do that because I wasn't truly in my power at that time. So through this container, I mean, where do I start? So with that expansion of my beliefs, I just felt so much more confident in myself to like do the damn thing. And I ended up meeting my friend Bella, who is now a partner with me in this podcast that we're doing. And we decided to do this whole live virtual event where we would host a weekend like workshop, pretty much guiding those that are struggling with stepping into their soul's path. So we brought on a bunch of entrepreneurs, you were included, and it was beautiful. Like we had talk after talk for 2 days of people sharing their magic. And Bella and I hosted the whole thing by ourselves. We produced it, hosted it, sold the tickets, did the marketing. And it was so freaking cool to see myself complete that, because I used to have a fear of like public speaking and using my voice. And to see that now that is one of my biggest gifts because I'm leaning into that is so freaking powerful. And even witnessing myself just finish that weekend event, like I bawled my eyes out of just feeling so freaking proud of myself. I remember I hung up the last, I ended the last workshop and Bella and I were just like on the call still as everyone was leaving the event virtually. And I just started crying. I was like, I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of myself. And I even went out to dinner with my husband that night with 2 friends, and they're like, so how was it? I'm like, it was amazing. Just crying, so proud of myself. So that really was a freaking quantum leap in my confidence and in my inner power and just my career. It was a huge milestone in my career. Another really big accomplishment that I am very proud of is raising my prices and owning the price that I'm charging for my services. And that was all thanks to you. I remember sitting in a one-on-one call with you and you were explaining your journey of you raising your prices and really how it boils down to your self-worth and what you truly feel about yourself. And I think that's another really main pillar of what I worked on in this container was just owning my freaking gifts and not being ashamed of feeling as though I have these gifts that want to be channeled outwards to help other people, as we all do, right? But you really taught me to own that and to claim that. And that was just a powerful, almost like something that really needed to be done in order for me to claim the pricing. It was almost this dynamic duo of like me claiming my gifts and then also claiming what I want to charge. And now it's like attracting clients with ease. Like I post a video on TikTok, I talk about my services, and then I get the application and I have a call with someone, and it's like easy. It doesn't have to be the pulling and the chasing. It really has turned into exactly what I wanted, with just magnetizing everyone that's meant for me. And there was another really profound lesson that you taught me of like, the people that are meant to work with you will work with you. And right off the bat, that was something that really magnetized me towards you, was you never pulled at people. You never forced anyone to do anything that they didn't want to do. You really allowed the universe to bring you the people that you know you are meant to cross paths with. And I view that when people come into my sphere too. I say, okay, thank you, universe, for allowing this person to enter my realm. And I trust that if they're meant to work with me, they will, and they'll come around. And they always do. And the people that aren't meant to work with you, they will find another coach that aligns with them, right? It's really this abundance mindset that has drastically shifted my personal energy when I'm talking to potential clients. And another really huge win was launching my podcast. So that was something that I always wanted to do. And I held myself back for about a year, but again, I don't think I was ready. And divine timing led Bella and I to meet and create this dynamic duo with what we're creating with the Out of Our Minds podcast. And we're just so excited, and it feels so freaking aligned. And I truly have stepped into like deeper levels of my inner power and confidence through the creation of that art piece too. So yeah, long story short,
Oh
things
my
have
God.
changed.
Months, this woman goes through a dark night of the soul, comes out expanded. She's a magnet. Your successful summit, the podcast. Wow, sister. Like you did that, right? Like you did this, even though, of course, you were in the space and you're ignited and activated by the community and this mentorship. Like, I really am just celebrating you for calling that in and showing up again with the devotion, the commitment, the willingness, because not everyone is willing to go down this path, right? And so now is like the time where I would love for you to talk to those people who are watching right now who are thinking about it. They're like, like doing the dance, right? Maybe they've been clicking the link and almost filling in the application. Like, what do they need to know from you?
Yeah. So honestly, the first thing I want to share is that the money is always going to be something that your mind can make up excuses towards. And the biggest shift that I've had in my own journey when it comes to hiring coaches is to change your list of values from, maybe for this chapter of your life, you value the investment into the coaches and then the travel and then the new clothing. Maybe that goes at the top of the list. And to see that change in your values, you'll start to shift the way that you perceive the investment into yourself. And I think the biggest change will occur when you realize that you are worthy of valuing yourself and your journey and your investment into your business and into your growth. A lot of people deep down, they're making the excuses about the money because they don't believe that they can actually make the changes. They don't believe they're worthy of making that big investment into their self and their business. So if you're experiencing any sort of money block, start to ask yourself, like, what part of me is not even believing that I can create that life of that I'm desiring or make the shift in my business? And as soon as you start to rewire that thought, you start to actually say, wait, I value my life and what is about to unfold so much that I'm going to make this happen. And it's going to be a major leap for me in my business and just my happiness and the way that my life is going to unfold. So you have to shift your values. It's not that the money doesn't exist. It's that it's being distributed towards other things.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I would say is trust that if something feels aligned, whatever that is to lean into it. I have found that every coach that I've come across in my journey, I was meant to work with in a very divine way. And I don't think anything is a coincidence. I think that we cross paths with people, whether it be partners, relationships, friends, coaches, for very divine reasons. And the coach that you come across and your heart is bursting over and you want to work with them so badly is no different than the guy that you bump into and you're saying, oh, I'm meant to like meet this person. It's very divine, and there's an order to everything. So the more you can trust that and lean into it, the more that path will unfold in front of you. And to know that working with Regina is one of the safest places that you can explore this path too. She holds you, but also pushes you. I find that you have the perfect balance of masculine and feminine that allows people to really be challenged when they're needing it, but then also be held when they're needing the softness. And you're able to kind of switch between that in a very beautiful way. And obviously your strategy, I don't need to talk about that, but you know exactly what to do when it comes to the marketing. So if anyone's looking for the strategy, obviously you have a vat of knowledge with all of the videos that you have and you give access to. But I think it's mostly your energy and the potency behind that and the vibration that you will absorb when you're working with you. So those are the things I would say to someone that's on the edge.
So eloquently said. Wow. Yeah, this whole call, I just keep getting goosebumps. I don't know, spirits watching, like, yes, like this conversation needed to happen.
Yeah, totally.
So, sister, seriously. And I know we were talking about this before we hit record, but I really can't wait to meet you in person. I'm going to have to do a trip to Sedona. I'm calling that in. But for now, if people want to find you, which I highly recommend, Nikki's stuff is pure gold. How can they find you? Where should they look? Yes, tell them.
Everything is just my business name, which is Oath to Growth, OATHTOGROWTH, Oath to Growth. And that is on TikTok, Instagram, and then also my website. And then if you want to email me, it's just Nikki at Oath to Growth.
What about your podcast?
Oh, and the podcast.
Yeah.
The podcast with my friend Bella is the Out of Our Minds podcast, which could be found anywhere that you listen to your podcast.
That's a good name. When you told me that name, I'm like, it's genius. So good. Well, Nikki, thank you so much. This has been incredible. I can't wait to see just the ripples of impact that come even from this conversation so people can really understand the power of this space. If you guys are listening or watching, you can go head over on all of the details, check out all the details on becoming. Just go to reginaosilva.com. That's ReginaOsilva.com/becoming. Go check it out. Either join the waitlist, or if we're open for enrollment, you can apply and book your call now. All right. Thank you so much, Nikki. I will see you soon. And for all of you who are watching, listening, until next time.